This is the I Am Salt Lake podcast, showcasing local talent, professionals, and everyday people making Salt Lake City what it is today.
Welcome to episode 5 of the I Am Salt Lake podcast. I am Chris Hollifield, and wow is all I can say. Seriously, thank you for making this podcast possible and for helping us get to episode 5. Your comments and suggestions and constructive criticism, without them, none of this really would be possible. You've kind of helped form what it is today, Salt Lake, and for that I am grateful. First of all, let's go over a little bit of information. If you haven't connected with us online, you can go to the website, iamsaltlake.com. It's going to have the contact information as well as some different links to eventual things. I know I mentioned in the last episode about getting the blog up and running. I'm still delayed a little bit with that, so please bear with me. Eventually that will have a blog as well as photo posts on there. But for right now, you do have contact information, which is iamsaltlake@gmail.com. We do have a voicemail hotline. That's 385-202-5926. Again, 385-202-5926. I cannot urge you enough to use those two forms of contact information to get in touch with us. If you have any suggestions for the show, events here going on in Salt Lake, festivals, concerts, anything that you want to help promote, give us a call, drop us an email, and we'll mention them on the show. Also, if you'd like to be interviewed on the show, if you're a local shop owner, if you're a craft person, a band, if you're just doing something really cool that you want to be showcased, get in touch with us. And if I like your story enough, I'd love to bring you on the show. Also, be sure to like us on Facebook. That's facebook.com/I Am Salt Lake. That link is on our contact information. And so go to iamsaltlake.com. That will connect with us. You can also subscribe to us on iTunes. The link is on the website, as well as hear us on the Stitcher Smart Radio, which is really nice for your smartphone. There's a lot of links on there for other podcasts. So if you want to find some other podcasts that you might like, hey, you know what? That's a really fun app, and we're on that as well. This episode is a really awesome episode. I had the opportunity to sit down at Sugar House Coffee and talk with Tiff, that is the owner and business owner over at Peach Treats Jewelry. You might have seen her sell at some of the local events, Downtown Farmers Market, Craft Sabbath, which is the first Sunday of the month that we talk about in the conversation interview. She was also at the Salt Lake Tattoo Convention last February, as in, let's see what else, the Arts Festival, that was in June. She is probably one of the hardest, most dedicated workers that I've met here in the Salt Lake area, business owners here in the Salt Lake area, and it really goes to show with her successful business that she's been able to put together that we talk about. And seriously, get in touch with her. Check her out on Etsy. I'm going to list the links for her Etsy store on the show notes, but let me tell you what they are right now. It's just www.peachtreats.etsy.com. She's also on Facebook, which is facebook.com/peachtreats. After you listen to our conversation, get in touch with her. Check out her jewelry. She also makes some really cool faux gauge earrings that you put in your ear. It looks like you got the gauged ears, and nobody will ever know. So yeah, she's a really cool individual to have gotten to know and have a chance to chat with. So yeah, this episode is with her. And yeah, I got some really awesome interviews lined up. I'm kind of getting these episodes out as quick as possible. Eventually, I would like to kind of get on a little bit of a schedule, but for right now, I'm just trying to get them up and going because I have a lot of people that are showing interest in the show, and I kind of want to get these up. So, without further ado, and let me play the interview that I had with Tiff over at Sugar House Coffee. All right, so we're at Sugar House Coffee here today. I'm talking with Tiff of Peach Treats, and we're going to find out a little bit about her business and what she does. First of all, just kind of give us a quick idea. How did the idea even come about? What were you just sitting around one day playing around with making jewelry, or what happened?
No, actually, funny story. I stretched my lobes when I was younger, high school age, and went into a piercing studio, a local studio here actually, and went in to find a basic pair of wood spirals. And my lobes weren't stretched that large, but the cheapest pair, the least expensive pair that I could find was around $90. And I'm a young kid. I can't afford $90. I can barely afford to put gas in my car. And I left kind of sad because, when you have stretched lobes, you want to have jewelry that stands out. You want to wear different jewelry every day. So I kind of forgot about it and just wore basic plugs. Then I started thinking about the fact that my mom and I were pretty crafty when I was younger. We worked with polymer clay a lot. We made figurines and magnets and pen covers and, just fun little things for Christmas gifts and stuff like that. And I remember seeing a fairy door that my mom had made that looked like wood. So then I thought to myself, why couldn't I make my own earrings? So I started researching the toxicity of the clay. I wanted to make certain that it was okay and safe for the lobes. After finding out that most brands of polymer is in fact non-toxic enough to ingest, I started making my own. And from there, my friends and family loved them, wanted their own.
So how long ago was that you first started making?
That was in 2008 that I started doing that. This whole process of the story was, from 1998 to 2008. So it took me a while to actually think of that idea. So.
And then you realized that there was an interest in it, and you're like, wow, I can make some of these and sell it.
Yes.
And where did you first start marketing?
First thing I did actually was Etsy. I listed about 10 items on Etsy. Slowly started making more styles, listing more on Etsy. I believe I opened my shop in September of 2009, and I think the first month I sold about 8 pairs, and I was actually very happy. I thought, wow, I've got some extra cash. Pretty incredible. The next month I sold over 100 pair.
Wow.
The second month.
The second month you were on Etsy, you sold 100 pairs.
Over 100, yes.
And how did people find out about you? I mean, just searching on Etsy?
Yes, so the cool thing about Etsy for my product in general is that there's a very few amount of sellers that sell jewelry for stretch lobes on Etsy.
Okay.
Like, say, for instance, you're searching and you search for hair bows. You're going to find 100,000 sellers who sell hair bows. So the chance that someone sells that can actually find your product as a hair bow, it's going to be more difficult.
Yeah.
But for me, because there was so few sellers, I popped up first or second page and was able to get the word out quicker about my product. So Etsy was just amazing for me.
Yeah.
It was amazing. So,
and obviously you've probably seen repeat customers. I mean,
many,
you probably saw that very quickly. They're like, wow, this stuff is top notch. So, I mean, if let's say somebody who hasn't heard of your product, what is it exactly that you do?
Okay, so I make custom handmade jewelry, not only for people that have stretched their lobes or gauges. I also make the same styles as a faux gauge or a faker earring. It has a titanium post in the center. It's meant to be worn through a regular pierced ear, and it gives the look of a stretched lobe. So you don't have to commit to doing that. So not only the polymer pieces, the faux gauge, but I also work with copper, steel, brass, and I'm going to be introducing wood here shortly as well.
Nice. And now the faux gauge, I find intriguing. Has that ever been done? I mean, is this something that you kind of created? Have you ever seen it? I mean,
I have seen it before, actually. So there are sellers on Etsy that live in Asia that sell wood and bone carved pieces. So I ordered a pair for my little sister, and I found that the way that they build the post and the backer together doesn't work well. It doesn't pinch close enough to the lobe. It swings in your ear. So my mother and I have actually been, figuring out a way to make them tighter, stronger, less likely to swing. And we finally come down to a really nice rubber backer that works well, that is actually patent pending right now.
Nice.
So I didn't come up with the idea of the faux gauge itself, but my product specifically is patent pending. So,
well, no, it's funny that you actually brought that up, because I was at work the other day, and one of the guys I work with was like, "Oh, you have to check this thing out. I'm going to try to draw it," and he drew a diagram of the faux gauge thing. He's like, "My friend's daughter just bought this at the farmer's market," and awesome. And it was just funny because I was like, "Oh, that's funny. I know that girl that makes that." So
that's awesome.
But so speaking of farmers markets, so when you're selling on Etsy, when did you decide to branch out and say, let's sell at some Salt Lake markets?
Well, actually, surprisingly, someone who works for a local magazine here, Slug, they actually bought some earrings from me through Etsy, and then contacted me and said, we do a lot of local markets here. You should definitely do one. We have one that's called Craft Lake City. Now, at this time, I think it was February or so when she actually initially contacted me, and Craft Lake wasn't until August. And so then I started thinking, wow, I could really do some different markets around here to really promote my items locally. Looked into the farmers market. Then I got asked to vend at Craft Sabbath. So that was actually the first local market that I did, was the February Craft Sabbath in 2011.
And I think I remember that one, actually, to be honest with you. I remember, I was like, oh, a new face. And that's awesome. So at what point did you, I know you haven't always been doing this full time. I mean, this is your full-time job now.
It is, yes.
Was that, when you made that leap, how stressful was that? I mean,
it was the biggest decision of my life. I swear. So prior to this, I was actually a human resource manager for a large payroll company here in the Valley, and I worked there for 10 years. And I mean, right out of high school, I started working there. They helped me get my education. They, helped me become a businesswoman in that aspect. So I'm very grateful to them for that.
Yeah.
When things started taking off on Etsy, I did that schedule for about 6 months. So I would work my 9 to 5, and then I would come home and work an additional 8 hours. Yeah. 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and then get up and go to work again. And it got to the point where I was so stressed out, I was so hagged out, that I finally sat down and I thought, okay, I either have to get rid of the corporate job, that, I make good money, I have benefits, all that, or I have to get rid of my artwork. And just the thought of giving up this idea that so many people had enjoyed, it made me sick to my stomach. I felt like I could not let go of the art that I was doing.
Yeah.
So I started saving up my money, paying off all my debt. About 4 months later, on my 29th birthday, I put in my 30-day notice to my corporate employer.
And now you could probably honestly say it's the best decision you ever made.
Definitely.
Because I can attest being your own boss and being a business owner is probably the most rewarding.
It's incredible. And I'm so grateful. A lot of people would say, oh, I was stuck in this corporate job for so long. I honestly couldn't run my own business if I hadn't had the learning experience from that employer previously. I feel like it makes me a better individual business owner as a whole. So
now what motivates you to keep going? I mean, honestly, I'm sure, let me see how to phrase that, because I remember when I had my own business, and it was like, okay, today I just don't want to do it, but you have to do something. What motivates you? What gets you out of bed to make more jewelry?
Well, it really depends on the day, because there are days where I'm laying there like, I do not want to get up. Yeah. I could sleep this whole day and not even worry. But the fact that so many customers enjoy my work, that motivates me. Also, a lot of times when I feel like I'm caught up on orders, just to be able to create something new and introduce it to people and see their reaction makes me excited to get up and do something.
How many orders do you make? I mean, how many? I
typically have anywhere from 65 to 100 orders in queue at all times on Etsy.
Wow.
So I think right now I've got about 80, so it's kind of mid. And I find that some people get annoyed with the fact that my production time is a little longer. But then once they hear that I do have that many orders in queue and that I'm due each one as the order comes in, then they kind of calm down.
And you do custom requests too on top of the orders on Etsy?
Everything on Etsy is custom.
Okay.
I've tried to have ready to ship pieces, but I can't keep up with the listings. It's easier for me to post a custom listing and then just renew that. And so someone can purchase it and then say, okay, I want this earring, but I want it in blue and I want it in this size. And then once they buy it, I can relist the same item.
Wow.
So it makes it easier for me. I can't keep up with the ready to ship stuff. So.
Wow. And your mom helped you with your,
Yeah.
which I think is really quite incredible that you have your mom help you. I mean, that must be, awesome fun. I mean, I'm sure it's great to have a helping hand. I met her at one of Farmers Market, and she's one of the most friendly people I've ever met.
She is. She's so
you really
fabulous.
lucked out there. I mean,
yeah. And it got
when did you bring her on board?
I want to say it's been about.
Hold on one second.
Sure thing.
Okay. Anyways,
I think it's been probably, I want to say 8 months or so that she's worked with me. I started getting really busy and unable to keep up with my orders. I had to increase my production time even more, and I didn't want to do that. So my mom is recently retired, worked for IHC for years and years, and said, I would love to help you. She started. I'm training her to actually be able to roll the clay as well. So she's going to be an additional artist on my team. And it's been amazing. She works 2 or 3 days a week, full-time days. It's pretty fun. So
I mean, how many hours a week do you think you probably put into this business? I mean, that's probably, or is that too tough of a question?
I think it ranges, but it's never under 40. That's
how do you manage your time? I mean, do you have set hours, or
I try to.
You try to.
So during the week, I try to do an 8 to 5 with an hour, an hour time frame in the center. I usually never get the lunch.
Yeah.
It gets to be 3, and I'm like, I might as well just work to the end of the day. But then in addition to that, I do the markets on the weekends. So that's another, another 8 hours. So I don't know. I'd say 40 to 60 a week, probably.
Let's talk a little bit about, you mentioned the markets. Now, I know you're going to be doing a tattoo convention, correct, in Vegas?
Yes.
When is that?
That is October 26th through 28th of this year.
And, I mean, is that, from what I understand, it's a huge convention.
It is. It's one of the biggest in the world.
And so, are you super stressed out about it? Or
Yes.
I mean...
So the tattoo convention here, I took about 400 pair.
Here in Salt Lake?
Here in Salt Lake, yes.
Okay.
It was last year. And I sold all but about 12 pairs at the convention here. Now, at that convention, there were maybe 10,000 attendees.
At the Salt Lake City?
At the Salt Lake City convention. Okay. Last year, the Las Vegas International Tattoo Convention sold 42,000 tickets. Now, that doesn't include the vendors who were there who received packets with additional tickets. So, we're talking.
And how many days is that? It's a
3-day weekend.
3-day weekend. Mm-hmm. In Las Vegas, and where is it? Just in case anybody listening is in Vegas. Where?
It's actually at the Mirage.
Okay.
So, and it goes Friday, I think 2 to 11, Saturday noon to midnight, and Sunday noon to 8, 26th to the 28th of October. So it's going to be a big show.
And so you're just trying to probably make the product now and stock up for that. Plus, you're still doing the farmers market downtown
and Etsy. Yes.
And Etsy. Uh-huh. Now. Do you sell? Where else do you sell at? I mean, do you sell some local shops here in Salt Lake?
I do. The most well-known would be Iris Piercing Studio.
Okay.
Dustin Robbins owns that beautiful shop, and he has been kind enough to carry a line of my work there. Uh-huh. The stuff that he carries, though, is really specific to his fan base. They like more organic looking, more natural stone, chain, beading, things like that. So the stuff that you find at Iris is exclusive to Iris. So when you go there, whatever you purchase from there is a one-of-a-kind deal from Iris. So I'm very thankful and lucky to be, partnered with him, to be associated with his business. So. And
do you sell anywhere else in Salt Lake? Or?
I do. There's a little shop here in Sugar House across the street, actually, that's called Awakening Heart. They carry some of my product. Healing Mountain Crystal Company. They're actually a massage school. Okay. They have a gift shop there that carries my product. There is a frame shop that's called Signed and Numbered that carries my product. And then there's a few in Ogden, a couple in Provo.
And what about out of state? Is there anything?
There are several out of state as well. Iris Piercing Denver carries my product. There are 2 boutiques in Los Angeles, one in New York, and one in London. So.
Wow! And
Yeah.
you manage this whole business by yourself. You
I
and
do.
with
Me and my mom.
with the help of your.
Yes,
And now,
my mom is
I
my
mean,
savior.
at what point do you think you're ready for another employee?
Right now.
It sounds like you're ready for somebody else to jump in and help you out a little bit.
Definitely. So I'm actually to the point where I feel like my business can't grow anymore. I either have to stay where I'm at or I need to move in a different direction.
Yeah. I could imagine, yeah.
Yeah. I absolutely refuse to do like a manufacturing of product thing.
Yeah.
I feel like it kind of deters from the whole idea of being handmade and local. So instead, what my vision is actually to hire local artists that specialize in different jewelry craft and to have them work under the Peach Treats name, kind of like Tawapa Jewelry or Evolve Jewelry. That is one company, but they have several artists that work together to build that company as a whole.
That'd be great for Salt Lake.
Yeah.
I mean,
So right now I'm actually in the process of hiring a gentleman who is a wood artist, and we're going to actually release the new line of wood plugs at the end of October. So
that's exciting.
Yeah. And then, of course, I'm training my mom, and she's doing excellent as far as being a polymer and copper artist.
So everything you've learned by running a business, let's say somebody, myself, for example, I said, hey, what would you recommend as a couple of things you've learned with owning your own business? I want to start my business. What would you suggest? What are some...
Well, the first thing that I would suggest is to do it the right way as far as the type of company you set up, the articles of incorporation, the business licensing, and the taxes. When I worked for this payroll company, I saw so many businesses go under because of tax issues or because of not following the proper protocol as far as employees, not having the proper business licensing or general liability insurance coverage. Things like that are so important, even if you are a single, sole proprietor or LLC. So for me, I felt like that was a big deal. I got all of that set up before I did anything. And then from there, I think promoting your business is number one.
Yeah.
You have to be able to use the social media sites. You have to be able to be willing to give people your cards and to talk to people and to have a really high quality PR image.
Yeah.
Customer service is key.
Yeah.
If something's messed up, even if it's the customer's fault, you need to fix it because they will come back.
Yeah.
So no matter what.
And you're on Facebook.
I am.
And which I will put the link on the website.
Sweet.
And as well as your Etsy store. And you mentioned you don't have a website yet.
I don't.
Hopefully eventually you will.
I will. In fact, the best thing to do is just to Google Peach Treats.
Okay.
I come up the first thing. So.
And are you on Twitter or anything like that?
I'm on Twitter as well and Instagram as well.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. That's, okay. And when you're not busy doing Peach Treats, what are some other things that you enjoy doing? I mean, what?
I really. Well, one of the things that I've been wanting to get into and kind of make as another endeavor of mine is to brew beer.
Really?
I love good beer, and I am so excited that Salt Lake has such an amazing amount of local brewers that are award-winning, internationally renowned award-winning brewers. I think that's so motivating, and it would be so amazing to be able to do that. But then again, that takes time, and it's...
So you would actually like to brew your own beer?
I would love to.
Possibly
yes.
To get to the point where you can... Would you ever sell it, or
that's not really on my mind. I just mostly want to drink it.
Okay. But have you brewed any beer?
My husband has,
okay,
yes.
Yeah.
And I've only helped slightly in the process, but I think it's so interesting.
Oh, it
the
is.
Chemistry of it.
It
and
is.
Just, I love photography, and I also paint. I do like oil and acrylic paintings, some of which I sell, but they don't sell the way my jewelry does.
Oh, I've seen some of your art, and I think it's great. I
Thanks.
think it's great. And you've always lived in the Salt Lake area, more or less. I mean, what do you think of Salt Lake City in general?
I'm absolutely in love with this city.
Yeah.
I feel so much anger towards people who live here and diss it.
Yeah.
It makes me sad because I feel like, I've traveled and seen a lot of big cities, and I feel like our city, even though it's not big, it's still a city, and it's clean, and it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
You can't travel 10 minutes and be in a gorgeous canyon or travel 3 hours and be in a place like Moab or Zion's Canyon. Just incredible. This city and this state is incredible. I love it.
Well, that's pretty much my thoughts exactly about it. Is there's so many people, they complain about it, but then they're the same people who are sitting on their couches doing nothing.
True. It's true. If you don't
then
like it,
it's and but then there's so many people like yourself and some of the other people that I've talked to that are doing something. And what's crazy even about that is people like yourself that you don't even realize maybe the effect you're playing on the inspiration maybe to somebody else that might start a business. And I'm sure if somebody who's listening, hey, you know what, maybe they have an idea, I'm sure you would love to help them out.
Definitely.
I mean, I think people get intimidated by people that are successful with something like yourself. And I know from my own experience where I'm just like you. I'm a normal person.
Yeah.
And
it's very true. I think anybody who meets me would feel that way. I would hope that they'd be confident enough to ask me.
Yeah, in the short amount of time that I've gotten to know you, I think you're a very friendly person. And I mean, you're just you could tell you genuinely are interested in what somebody has to say. Which I think is great for like you, back to what you said, the PR and getting your name out there.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think that's, I mean, is there anything else I really appreciate you sitting down and talking today and telling me kind of your story a little bit. I've learned a lot about your history and your story and kind of where you came from and your business and what I think is you do is incredible. And I mean, it takes a certain kind of person to do what you do.
I'm grateful. There's a lot of people I couldn't have done it without, so
yeah.
I'm happy. Yeah.
And it seems like you have a supportive team.
I do. One thing that I would like to say, though, is that I'm so grateful to a lot of the other artists in the city that have been so open to my business, helping me and giving me support, and just, I don't know, the people that I've met since starting this business, local people here, have just really touched me.
That's awesome. And they've been pretty helpful with helping you get off the ground.
Yeah, amazing.
So actually, I also want to mention, is there any other events? So besides the tattoo, I think, did we talk about, so you have the tattoo convention and then farmers market, what, any other ones that maybe we didn't mention? Or?
Well, I've got Craft Sabbath coming up, the October, November, December shows. Beehive Bazaar, I'm hoping that they're going to be doing a Christmas show.
Yeah.
And then also I'll be doing the Park Silly Holiday Market.
Okay.
That's the 1st and 2nd of December, I believe.
Okay.
But other than that, my next really large show will be the Salt Lake International Tattoo Convention.
And that's in February?
Usually. Sometimes it's beginning of March, but it's right around that time.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Yeah, just so people can kind of keep an eye out for you.
Sure.
I think it'd be fun to get some new faces in front of your jewelry.
Yeah, I would love that.
But I think we pretty much covered it all. I appreciate you. Thank you very much for coming on. And
I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. And maybe we'll catch up down the road and see how you've progressed. All right. Seriously, I can't thank you enough, Tiff, for sitting down and talking with me. Let me find out a little bit about your business. Check her out again on Etsy. It's peachtreats.etsy.com. Drop her an email. Tell her you heard her on the podcast and that you want to check out some of her jewelry. Check her out. Let's see. Farmers Market. That's going on through the, I believe, the 3rd week of October. She also will be at the Las Vegas Tattoo Convention that we mentioned in the interview. And that is going to be going on October 26th through 28th. That's in Las Vegas, Nevada. The website for that is lasvegastattooShow.com. Go down there if you're in Vegas and tell her you heard her on the podcast. I'm sure she'd get a kick out of that. And let's see what else. So there's Craft Sabbath. That is coming up October 7th, the first Sunday of the month. And also mark it on your calendar. We haven't set a date for the Insta-Walk, the monthly Insta-Walks that I do here in Salt Lake City. That's October 19th that we set a date for. And so definitely you want to check that out. And if there's any other events that you have, get in touch with us. I'd like to mention them on future episodes of the podcast. I am saltlake@gmail.com. And that's going to do it for another episode of I Am Salt Lake. Thank you very much. Get in touch. And until next time, remember, it only takes one of you to make a difference in Salt Lake City.